In the soft early light of an ordinary morning, I awaken to the gentle hum of a small Ohio suburb stirring to life. The pale sunlight streams through the lace curtains of my modest apartment, painting delicate patterns on the hardwood floor. Every day begins with a familiar ritual: an untouched plate waiting for breakfast, a meticulously prepared cup of black coffee, and the quiet moment spent gazing out of the window at a town that seems to carry the weight of endless routine. Outside, the streets are just beginning to bustle with the rhythm of daily life, and I can almost hear the distant murmur of voices mingling with the chirps of early birds. I live in a world of subtle contrasts. The comfort of my cozy apartment is punctuated by an undercurrent of restlessness, a whisper of longing for something more than the carefully curated normality of suburban life. My husband, Jeffrey, occupies the adjacent space at our breakfast table. His eyes are already fixed on the tablet in front of him as he absorbs the latest news updates, his features bathed in the cool glow of digital headlines. The news, with its steady stream of familiar events, serves as a background score to our morning, emphasizing the predictability of our existence. There is an unspoken agreement between us, a mutual acceptance of our roles, a quiet compliance with the routine that defines our marriage. Yet beneath this calm surface, I feel the stirrings of a deeper disquiet. As I stir my coffee and listen to the rhythmic sound of the spoon against the porcelain cup, I am reminded of the days when life held unpredictable promise. There was a time when every sunrise brought with it a spark of possibility, a chance encounter that might alter the course of an otherwise mundane day. Now, each morning is a mirror reflecting the same routine, the same careful balance of domestic chores and work-at-home tasks that have come to define me. There is a lingering melancholy in the way I observe the town from my window, a sense that somewhere beyond the neatly trimmed lawns and quiet streets, life is unfolding in ways that I have never truly experienced. I step away from the window, leaving behind the view that both comforts and confines me. The subtle scent of brewing coffee mingles with the cool morning air, carrying memories of youth and dreams long deferred. Today, like every day, is a blend of soft routine and the silent call of untapped possibilities, a juxtaposition that leaves me both hopeful and apprehensive. I take a deep breath, aware that in the midst of everyday predictability, even the smallest spark of change can ignite a profound transformation. And so, with a heart quietly brimming with both resignation and anticipation, I begin another day in this small town, unaware that life is about to offer me a glimpse of something far beyond the familiar. The day unfolds with the measured precision of a well-rehearsed play. After the quiet morning, I set about my daily duties with deliberate care. In the soft light of early afternoon, my modest apartment transforms into a haven of domestic tasks. I dust the shelves where faded mementos rest, each a reminder of quieter, simpler times. The rhythmic tapping of the keyboard accompanies my work-at-home responsibilities, a modest role that leaves little room for deviation. Yet, amidst the ticking clock and gentle hum of household appliances, there is an undercurrent of disquiet that I cannot ignore. Outside, the familiar sounds of the neighborhood continue unabated. Distant laughter, the soft murmur of conversations through open windows, and the occasional ring of a bicycle bell. Despite the comforting cadence of routine, a persistent feeling of monotony begins to overshadow the day. I often catch myself wondering about the life that might have been, the roads not taken when I was brimming with untamed dreams. The balance between duty and desire grows increasingly precarious as I maneuver through each chore with mechanical precision. In the midst of this carefully maintained order, my thoughts drift to the possibilities that lie beyond the known. There is an echo of a promise, a life once imagined, filled with vibrant encounters and spontaneous adventures. As I pause to water the small collection of plants by the window, their leaves glistening in the gentle sunlight, I feel a subtle tug on my heart. It is as if the plants, in their quiet resilience, are urging me to seek renewal beyond the confines of my everyday existence. Throughout the day, every sound and shadow seems to whisper of an alternative future. The tapping of the rain against the window, the soft murmur of a television in a neighbor's apartment, even the distant bark of a dog, all conspire to remind me that there is life outside the meticulously drawn borders of my routine. And yet, the day is punctuated by the soft glow of familiarity, a phone call from a friend recalling old times, a shared laugh over a trivial misunderstanding, and the steady presence of the world I know so well. By late afternoon, as the sky dons hues of gold and amber, I pause to reflect on the hours past. I sense that somewhere deep within, an awakening stirs, a desire to break free from the quiet resignation of my daily existence. While I continue my tasks with the precision of habit, my mind is adrift in a sea of subtle yearnings. I recognize that the balance I have maintained for so long is beginning to falter, hinting at the possibility of change. Yet for now, I remain suspended in this delicate dance between the comfortable pull of routine and the gentle call of the unknown. That evening, as the sky shifted from the golden hues of late afternoon to a cooler, deeper blue, I found myself ordering dinner from our local cafe, Brookside Deli, a small establishment known for its warm lighting and inviting aromas that seemed to momentarily lift the weight of the day. I remember the anticipation that stirred within me as I dialed the order. It was as if fate had arranged for a small disruption in the routine that had come to define my existence. When the doorbell rang, I opened it to find a young courier whose smile was instantly disarming. His name was Ethan, and in that brief moment of contact, something indefinable passed between us. His eyes, clear and earnest, met mine with a genuine warmth that contradicted the usual fleeting expressions of a stranger. He handed me the carefully wrapped bag of food with a kindness that felt both unexpected and sincere. And as our eyes lingered on one another, I sensed a subtle shift, a new chapter quietly beginning. Ethan's presence was a refreshing contrast to the muted monotony of my daily life. His light-hearted banter, filled with small yet meaningful comments about the weather, the scent of the evening air, and even a humorous observation about the city's timeless architecture, felt as if he were revealing layers of the world that I had long since overlooked. His words were neither contrived nor overly poetic. They were simple observations delivered with the sort of natural ease that made you believe in the beauty of ordinary moments. Standing there in the dim glow of the hallway, I couldn't help but marvel at how this chance encounter seemed to break through the invisible barrier that had encased my routine. With each exchange, the familiar world around me receded, replaced by the thrill of possibility. It wasn't merely a conversation. It was a subtle invitation to reawaken a part of me that had been subdued by the steady cadence of everyday life. Ethan's genuine curiosity about how my day had unfolded, his gentle, probing questions that went beyond mere small talk, made me feel seen in a way that I had not experienced for a long time. As I closed the door behind him, the brief encounter left an echo in the quiet room, a lingering warmth that outshone the mundane details of the day. The delivery bag, still in my hands, symbolized not only the food from Brookside Deli, but also the unexpected nourishment for my soul. In that transient moment, I realized that even the smallest connection, fleeting as it might be, had the potential to stir a deeper, long-forgotten part of me, awakening dreams of a life replete with moments that were as spontaneous as they were genuine. In the days that followed my unexpected encounter with Ethan, the world around me seemed to carry a different hue, a subtle yet undeniable shift that transformed the ordinary into something quietly extraordinary. Each step I took in my small town revealed fresh layers hidden beneath the veneer of routine. The local bookstore, once a mere backdrop in my daily life, now beckoned with the promise of undiscovered stories. As I wandered through its narrow aisles, I found myself pausing longer at familiar titles, wondering if perhaps these well-worn pages might whisper secrets of adventures I had long forgotten. The park by the lake, a place I had always visited out of habit, began to resonate with a newfound energy. Under the sprawling limbs of ancient trees, I would sit on a weathered bench and lose myself in thought. The shimmering surface of the water reflected not only the sky, but also the subtle stirrings of my heart. each ripple echoing the delicate uncertainty of change. In these quiet moments, the air carried a freshness, as though the gentle rustling of leaves was offering a silent invitation to embrace the possibilities that had once seemed so distant. I noticed these changes in the most unassuming moments. During a routine trip to a quaint cafe for a quick coffee, I found that the familiar chatter of patrons and clink of cups had become a comforting background to my reflective state. I was more attuned to the gentle cadence of life around me, the soft murmur of conversations, the occasional laugh that punctuated the air, and the gentle hum of the barista as they prepared each drink with care. There was an understated beauty in every detail, a sense that life itself was reaching out to show me that even the simplest moments held the potential for renewal. These subtle shifts were not confined to public spaces, they crept into my private moments as well. At home, while organizing a shelf or preparing dinner, my thoughts often drifted to Ethan's bright smile and the genuine curiosity that had so effortlessly dismantled the walls of my guarded routine. The memory of his presence lingered, infusing my everyday activities with an undercurrent of anticipation. It was as if the routine I once embraced had become a canvas, slowly being repainted with the vibrant colors of possibility. Even mundane errands carried a hint of enchantment now. A walk through the town's quiet streets revealed the gentle interplay of shadow and light, the comforting familiarity of storefronts, and the soft murmur of distant voices blending into a melody of everyday life. Each familiar landmark transformed into a silent witness to my internal journey, a journey from resignation to the subtle realization that change, though slow and tentative, was already in motion. As dusk fell over the town, painting the sky in shades of twilight, I felt a serene excitement stir within me. The transformation was not dramatic or ostentatious. It was quiet and measured, like the turning of a page in a well-loved book. In that quiet interplay between the past and the promise of tomorrow, I sensed that every ordinary moment now held the potential for something transformative, a secret that the world was sharing with me, one gentle sign at a time. In the wake of those unexpected moments of renewal, a quiet storm began to brew within me, a soft yet persistent disquiet that threatened to upend the carefully constructed balance of my life. The days that followed brought with them not only the subtle beauty of rediscovered moments, but also the silent weight of conflicting emotions. Each morning, as I greeted the familiar routine with a smile that no longer felt entirely genuine, I sensed an unspoken tug at the edges of my soul. It was as if two different worlds were vying for my attention, each promising fulfillment yet demanding a price. At home, the air grew thick with an unacknowledged tension. Jeffrey, ever steady in his silent routine, seemed to carry a presence that was both reassuring and stifling. His eyes, though often warm in their habitual way, now hinted at a quiet awareness, an intuition that perhaps something had shifted. Our conversations, once filled with the light chatter of everyday life, became sparse and measured. I found myself caught between the comfort of a shared history and the allure of an unexplored future that seemed to whisper to me in every passing moment. The recollections of my brief exchanges with Ethan would surface unbidden during the quiet hours of the evening. I would lie awake, replaying his gentle words and the kind expression that had lit up his face. His presence had ignited something dormant within me, a longing for authenticity that I hadn't known I still possessed. Yet with each recollection came a pang of guilt, a subtle reminder that my heart was slowly, almost imperceptibly, drifting towards a new horizon. The contrast was striking. The stability of my married life with Jeffrey, built on years of shared routines and unspoken agreements, and the vibrant, uncertain promise embodied in Ethan's every gesture. In these solitary moments, I began to question the very essence of my daily existence. Was the comfort of familiarity enough to sustain a life, or was it a gentle confinement that masked a deeper yearning for connection and self-discovery? The answers were elusive, hidden beneath layers of habit and the weight of years lived in quiet compliance. Every time I passed by a window, the reflection staring back at me seemed to carry the trace of a soul in search of renewal, a soul that was no longer content with the mundane rhythms of the past. Walking through the familiar streets of our town, I noticed the way shadows stretched across the pavement, as if trying to capture the hidden parts of my inner world. The sound of footsteps, the murmur of voices, and the soft rustling of leaves stirred memories of dreams I once dared to dream. With each passing day, the duality of my existence grew more pronounced. One life marked by the safe cadence of routine, and another that beckoned with the promise of rediscovered vitality. I found myself standing at a crossroads, silently aware that the choices I made would forever alter the landscape of my heart. As dusk descended and the sky turned a muted hue of twilight, the quiet stirrings within me did not subside. Instead, they became a gentle yet insistent call to confront the inner conflict. A call to acknowledge that while the known offered comfort, it might also be the very barrier preventing me from embracing the life that was waiting just beyond the familiar. In that reflective solitude, I resolved to listen to that call, uncertain yet determined to explore where this delicate path of self-discovery might ultimately lead. One cool evening, as twilight deepened into a gentle dusk, I found myself wandering the familiar city streets with an inexplicable pull toward a new chapter. The town, usually a canvas of routine and quiet familiarity, was now painted in shades of anticipation and subtle change. I had left home earlier, drawn by an urge to break free from the confines of my everyday schedule, and the gentle hum of the city filled my senses. Streetlights flickering to life, soft music drifting from open cafe doors, and the murmur of distant conversations that spoke of hidden possibilities. Wandering along a narrow, well-worn alley off the main boulevard, my thoughts were a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The familiar mix of nostalgia and desire blended into something that felt both tender and transformative. I could almost sense that tonight might reveal something I had long kept dormant. The air was crisp, carrying whispers of conversations from nearby shops and the occasional laughter that made the night feel alive with unsaid promises. Each step I took was filled with a cautious curiosity, as if the very pavement was guiding me toward an unexpected encounter. And then I saw him, Ethan. He was leaning casually against a time-worn brick wall, the glow of a nearby street lamp casting soft shadows across his features. His eyes, lit by the same gentle luminescence, held an earnest invitation that seemed to bridge the distance between us. As if propelled by the same unspoken yearning, I approached him with an ease that belied the storm of thoughts racing through my mind. Our greeting was quiet, devoid of grand declarations, yet charged with a familiarity that had grown over our brief yet recurring encounters. For a few moments, the city's clamor faded into a serene silence as we talked. Our conversation flowed naturally, from recounting small details of the day to reflecting on the dreams we had tucked away in the quiet corners of our hearts. Every word was a step further from the safe, predictable life I had known, and a step closer to an unfolding reality that promised to reshape my inner world. The ordinary backdrop of the city was transformed by this shared moment of genuine connection, where every smile, every glance, was imbued with the possibility of something new. In a pause that felt both deliberate and unanticipated, Ethan reached out, and with a gentleness that spoke volumes, he brushed a stray lock of hair from my face. At that moment, time seemed to hold its breath. The simple act carried a profound message, a wordless understanding that our lives were at a crossroads. Then, as if following an unspoken agreement, our faces moved together and we shared a kiss under the watchful gaze of the night. It was a brief yet resonant exchange, a seal on the day's unfolding promise and a whisper of the changes yet to come. The kiss was not a declaration of wild abandon, but rather a quiet testament to the beauty of rediscovery. In that fleeting moment, the tension of my inner conflict softened into an affirmation of the life stirring within me. The city around us resumed its gentle symphony, the familiar sounds now imbued with a newfound significance that would linger long after we parted ways. In the quiet days following that unexpected kiss, life began to weave its intricate tapestry of consequences, each thread representing a choice made, a word unspoken, and a secret kept close to the heart. At first, the lingering memory of that tender moment with Ethan seemed like a gentle whisper, a private reminder that the world could offer surprises even in the midst of a predictable life. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, that whisper grew into a persistent echo, influencing every decision and every quiet moment. At home, the familiar surroundings of our modest apartment became both a sanctuary and a silent witness to the turmoil unfolding inside me. Mornings still began with the customary routine. Breakfast served in muted conversation with Jeffrey, the clink of utensils, and the distant murmur of the news on his tablet. But now, beneath the calm exterior, a subtle tension had taken root. Jeffrey's once reliable smile seemed to carry an undercurrent of uncertainty, as if he sensed the gradual shift in my demeanor without knowing its source. Each shared glance and brief word now held an unspoken question, a silent inquiry into the change that had crept into our daily life. Outside, the world moved on obliviously, yet every familiar place, the quiet street corner, the local coffee shop, the park near the lake, appeared to be charged with a new meaning. I found myself retracing my steps to spots that had witnessed our earlier exchanges, searching for remnants of the fleeting connection I had experienced with Ethan. There was a bittersweet pleasure in these solitary visits, tempered by the growing awareness that each encounter with his memory deepened the divide between the life I knew and the life I longed to explore. Every familiar landmark became a canvas on which the colors of my hidden emotions were boldly sketched, forcing me to confront the stark reality of my inner conflict. The secret closeness I shared with Ethan began to weigh on my conscience in quiet, unrelenting ways. I noticed a hesitancy in my actions, a pause before a familiar greeting, a fleeting moment of distraction when Jeffrey's eyes met mine. In the silence of the night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the duality of my existence played out like a silent film, the comforting routines of domestic life on one side and the stirring promise of renewal on the other. The more I tried to compartmentalize these two worlds, the more they intermingled, leaving me with a deep, persistent unease that neither could fully satiate. Each day presented its own small trials. A stray comment that hinted at knowledge of my inner changes, a look that seemed to question my authenticity, and the constant internal battle between a sense of duty and the magnetic pull of a new possibility. In this delicate balance, I began to realize that the secret connection with Ethan was not just a fleeting distraction. It was a catalyst, forcing me to examine long-held beliefs about loyalty, identity, and the meaning of fulfillment. The gentle yet undeniable consequences of that clandestine closeness now cast long shadows over my routine, urging me to confront the profound questions of what I was willing to risk and what I truly desired from life. In the quiet hours before dawn, as the world outside slumbered beneath a blanket of calm, I found myself standing at the precipice of a decision that would forever alter the course of my life. The months of inner conflict and hidden rendezvous had led me to this inevitable moment of reckoning. I sat alone in the stillness of the night, the soft hum of the city in the distance mingling with the steady beat of my own heart. There was no dramatic upheaval, no overwhelming burst of emotion, only the measured clarity that comes when one is forced to choose between what has been and what might be. The familiar contours of my life with Jeffrey loomed like a well-worn map, every street and routine etched with the certainty of years shared. Yet, as comforting as that map was, I could no longer ignore the subtle, persistent call of the unknown. Ethan had become a quiet symbol of a life reimagined, a life where every day held the promise of genuine connection and the discovery of parts of myself I had long set aside. His gentle presence had awakened something within me, a desire to step beyond the safe confines of a routine that, despite its stability, had grown increasingly suffocating. With each passing day, the duality of my existence had grown more pronounced. At home, I moved through familiar rituals with an air of detachment, each action tinged with the weight of unspoken truths. In the quiet moments before sleep, I replayed memories of my past, a time when the world felt vast and full of possibilities, and questioned whether returning to that safety was worth the cost of losing the vitality I had discovered. The decision was not one of anger or blame, but of deep, personal reflection. It was the understanding that while the comfort of routine had its merits, it no longer resonated with the person I was becoming.